equality? Or do you think that women are still behind? And if you think that women are still behind, how are they behind? And I want Charlie to go first, and then I'm going to give it to Tolly.
I mean, I think Tolly would probably disagree, and that's okay. I think it's a personal, feeling. I feel that Roe v. Wade being overturned was a significant infringe severely on women's rights. The right to bodily autonomy. I don't think that women should have to.
Yeah. I'm feeling the same way as Marte and even Fatty here.
I think these are serious issues that should be addressed. If we have the time, I could circle back to, men not having to pay child support. I think that's a good conversation to have. If women are able to opt out of their parental role, should men be allowed to? Also, I think yes. I think that yes, there are women, maybe not enough in your perspective, and that's fine, but there are many women who are horrified by sort of the family court system and the way that men are alienated from their children. However, if ultimately men have the power, then what are you doing asking the women to protest about it? Just fix it.
So I will answer that for you, right? There's power in weakness. The LGBT is a very small number. They cry and say boo hoo ha ha, and they get what they want. Black Lives
Why are
Matter.
people giving them what they want?
I thought you considered the microphone. we have women that technically have no physical power, and they boo hoo ha ha with families, and they get what they want. We got.
But why
the
are
Jewish,
men? Why
like,
are men?
our-
Why are
my
men giving
mouth
them
is
what
still-
they
my
want?
mouth is still moving. Blah, 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 blah,
I know.
moving still.
I see
I
it.
know.
Give
I know
them a
it's
second.
dark and at night, but I think my teeth you can see my teeth, right? So
You're not
you
that
have
dark.
you have all these groups that are minorities and technically don't have the power to actually physically do something. But one thing that you have to acknowledge is that power in weakness, and women, because they have the power of influence other men, are controlling social media, are controlling YouTube right now. I can say things about women and get demonetized. You can say all the things about men that you want, and nothing happens to you. So if men gave you a voice, if there's power in weakness, meaning I would cry and complain and I'll get shit done even though I'm a minority, you as a woman that thinks that has no power, you should get your friends, go to the street, take your shirt, show your titties, say to all the men, we need A, B, C, D, E, like you guys usually do, and try to get this little bit of rights so we can actually help our kids. Will that be fair?
Hold on. Okay, so
I gotta say, Fatty's pretty funny.
maybe. So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So women need to take to the street and go topless to convince some men that the other men need more rights of visitation and stuff
That's
like
what
that
you
to their
do.
children.
Yes, that's what you all do. You take your shirt, you show your titties, free the nipple, please do
Um,
something for it. And you out there, and the
It's an
men in
option.
power say, you know what? My wife and my sister are telling me to do something. Let me go ahead and sign a bill. That's what y'all do. So if you did that shit for men, for women, time and time again, in every single issue that you were, for whatever reason, not up to par with men, it's time for you to use the power of the nipple to help men get to your status.
Right. So
Yes, yes. Use the power of the nipple, guys. I am down for this. I am down for this. Fatty been spitting some truth right here. Yes, use the power of the nipple to get the men their fairness in the whatever they're talking about. Just do it. But yes, in all seriousness, though, it is like a damsel in distress thing. Men do have this natural urge to protect women. So when there's a woman going, "Oh my God, we're being so oppressed, it's so cruel," there's a lot of men that are going to listen. And also too, there's the political factors. There's the big businesses that benefit from having women in the workplace and all this stuff. There's those things too. But I think that to get the average man who has no power like that on board, I think I think women do use the damsel in distress, and that's usually how they get their power.
I don't think that the majority of I would say nearly almost all of them feminist protests don't include showing boobs, so that seems to be the type that you're
Most of
most
them
familiar
are
with. But
okay.
Women advocated for their rights,
Hold on,
and
guys.
I think that, frankly, men could also do that. There's certainly women that would support you in doing so. Tolly seems to have the same opinions, so you could advocate for yourself. I mean, isn't that
No, because
you can't. You can't.
no, that's not the case, right? Let me actually tell you this and see if you agree with me. When the WNBA wants more money, they don't talk with the other woman. Says, ladies, we are 50% of the population and we control 80% of the consumer spending. Let's go to WNBA games. You know what they do? These NBA players should share more money. When ladies want to go and they say, we need to support movies where women are, Captain Marvel and the Woman King and all these very woke productions that come in, they don't tell other women to go there and support. They say men are hate women because Captain Marvel is not doing the same numbers as Iron Man. Every time woman wants something, they don't look at other women, they look at the help of men. So please, once again, if every time women have a problem, they go and they say, please, man, help us, you need to do the same thing with us. Or aren't you guys for equal rights? It's very selective, right?
Well, again, it's women advocating for themselves, and typically groups advocate for themselves. So again, I'm saying I think that you as a man, you can also advocate.
Typically groups advocate for themselves. No, other groups of people advocate for other groups of people all the time. All right, why do you think there's so many white people that advocated for like civil rights and stuff like that? It's not just like, oh, they just advocate for themselves. This is a completely weak and bullshit answer from Chucky over here.
For yourself. I think that you are just as
And that's how they are too. Like, it's like, well, what about when men need help? Then she's like, well, you're on your own there, pal. But then they cry foul whenever anything happens to them.
capable as women. You know, you
maybe
have
more
power.
maybe more capable, in fact.
So
Yeah,
why every
right?
time so why every
Yeah, so now they're resorting to, oh, well, now you're more capable. Oh, but if we say that, if we say we're more capable than women, they get pissed off. But now that it helps their argument, now they're completely fine with saying that men are probably more capable.
time you want equal pay, you go to the men and you don't go to your 50% of woman population? Why every time we say we need to pay more these women because they are the world champions of soccer, instead of going to other women so they can put money on their pocket, they go to the men and says, give us our cut? Why? Why can't you do the same thing? If you have all these you push society and you push men on the other side to jump the fence so they can help you put money on your pockets and all that, why can't you do the same? You control 80% of the consumer spending. Why not take a little bit of that money and then go ahead and lobby these people for men to have rights on family court and all that? Because you don't care. You like the advantage. You don't want equal rights. You are in our side. That's the reality. You just don't want to admit it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Damn, silence. That's crazy.
Give him a chance.
So
give him a chance.
I was
Go ahead,
knocked
Tyler.
I was knocked out of the conversation for a second. My Wi-Fi glitched or something. I'm a little confused. I feel like there's
He'll booted you for a second. Damn. Okay,
Exactly.
Go ahead, proceed.
I feel like there's an inconsistency in what you're saying. We're talking about the forced doctrine, and that men, basically, whether women or men like it or not, they ultimately hold the power. You not believe in the forced doctrine?
Oh, so you didn't ask me if I believe in it. That's crazy.
Sir, your debate partner
my debate partner is not my girlfriend. He's my debate partner. Okay, he has his own beliefs.
You're totally right. Okay,
if you want to debate him, it's fine. But I believe that the biggest power is strength in weakness. He's not the biggest guy that is going to put you on your place. Sure. That's a very primitive way of looking at power. Is the damsel in distress that is going to cry, and then 7 men is going to show up and do the dirty job for her. The LGBT community does it. Women do it. Black Lives Matter do it. The Jewish community do it. So once again, if you look at reality, you will understand that y'all crying will solve a lot of our problems. Y'all just don't want to do it because now you have the upper end.
Yeah, I disagree with that. Like, there is some truth. Again, there is some truth to the power and weakness, but it's not. That doesn't mean that men don't ultimately have the forced doctrine. I mean, look, there's other countries out there there's other countries out there that don't where women don't have like equal rights and stuff like that. They're not able to use the whole the damsel in distress thing. The people in charge don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, well, sucks to suck. And they continue to use forced doctrine. So no, forced doctrine is absolutely a thing. It's just that they're just lucky that we live in a country where we actually do give a shit about what women think and stuff like that. And what people with lesser power think. That's the only factor that's different here than in other countries, is that we're a Christian nation with Christian values and Christian ethics, where we actually do care about our fellow man, and women. Where other countries, some other countries don't. So that's the only difference here between us and other countries. But no, absolutely, it's in the end of the day, if we all decided to just ditch Christian ethics and values and just decide to, we just want to oppress women, we absolutely could do it and just not give a shit about their feelings.
Go ahead.
Well, the reason why I believe in force doctrine and the reason why I have a different stance is because, as you noticed, and it's not me debating my own partner here, but I just want to make a distinction between the two, because if you notice, he said there's strength and weakness, and you still have to plead to men in the end. And that's what it boils down to.
Too.
It inevitably reveals itself to be force doctrine. And that's the conclusion anyways. I think when we talk to Charlie, right? Charlie in the upper corner, she's actually arguing against her own interest, because I think that when she beckons to things like voting and all these other things, you want all that. But when it comes to responsibility, you tend to shirk it when it's not convenient for you.
Yeah.
I.e. things like dropping a baby off at a fire station, not being able to go to war, all these other things. It's great. You can have all the privileges, but no responsibility, thus making men into a pseudo slave class. How can you tell me that you want something to be equal while taking all the responsibility and sharking it in the end when it comes to the conclusion of things that you want?
Okay, Charlie, can you tell us?
Oh, shut up, Wick. Look, dude. Like, just let her answer. But I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, Marte is absolutely correct there, and I think he put it like excellently, way better than what Fatty could have done. Like, he's absolutely right. Like, in real time, we're seeing these women shirk their responsibility. Like when Fatty's saying, well, why don't you help us? They're like, well, it seems like you guys could handle it on your own. Like, oh, okay. Whenever it's not convenient for them, then they just say, fuck it.
Why you want men to be a pseudo slave class? I'm really curious. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to find out why slaves again.
Why you're slaves?
How are we not becoming a slave class if you're going to make us do all the responsibility, but you want all the privileges of everything? That's great. But when it comes down to it, thing bad, I don't want it. Thing good, yes, I'll have it.
Yeah, and you work to benefit yourselves, though. Like, the whole reason, like, it's girl boss. It's not like men, where men have to work to take care of their family. Men work to take care of not only just themselves, but their family. Women work to take care of themselves. And whenever it's like there's a situation where, let's say, there's a woman that's the breadwinner, the man is looked at as lazy, or he's a freeloader. It's kind of like in Married with Children, Jefferson and Marcy. Jefferson was kind of like the freeloading guy, and Marcy was the one that worked. He was a breadwinner, but he was seen in a negative he was seen in a negative light. He wasn't seen as like, oh, he's a strong stay-at-home husband. Like, no, he was seen as like this like freeloader. And same thing, even in a situation where both people are working, but the woman is bringing home more money. It's seen like, oh, well, why don't you just? It's seen as like she has all the power and she's the stronger one in the relationship. Men work to take care of others. Women work to take care of themselves.
Well, so the thing about that, like where we are in society right now, is that women are able to work and get jobs. So women do have responsibilities to society, which is, I mean, teaching, nursing, caretaking, raising children, very vital jobs.
I love how the women always default to raising children. Like, they get mad when we say women are good for raising children, but they get mad at us for saying that. But they're allowed to defer to that whenever it's convenient to them. Also, too, how good would these female teachers, and well, these teachers in general, but teachers are mainly female, mostly in general. How helpful were they during the lockdowns, during COVID, when they didn't even want to return to work? They wanted to keep doing the stay-at-home business for as long as possible. they wanted to stay home and keep collecting checks and do, less work than actually come into work to teach the children. So that's another situation where they were putting themselves over the needs of others.
To yes, that they always have, but they're being compensated for them now, which is good. I would say women have a great responsibility to society. I don't understand your point about men being a pseudo slave class.
Maybe this will help the conversation. Marte, can you give us some examples of where you think that men today are a pseudo slave class? Some clear examples, then we can dig into them. Cool. Go ahead.
Cool.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know Wick is a lefty here. But I don't know how he does in moderating other debates, but so far, like the bias is showing here. Clearly he's on the women's side here, and so yeah, he's it's a reasonable question, but still, I don't see him asking these questions of the ladies over here. At least not yet. Who knows?
So can a woman evade the results of pregnancy as far as like bad outcomes? Like, oh, I have to take care of this. They're relying on the state. They have custody for the most part of their kids. Everything else, they could drop it off at a safe haven. What options do men have? Oh, exactly. Shit, we don't have any of those options. We can't drop it off at a baby safe haven, although you can say that we can do that. Does that usually happen? No. Most of the population would say, no, it doesn't happen. To Fatty's point, can we financially abort ourselves from the situation? We don't have that option. So whenever you take any scenario like this, for example, and you give one the same opportunities and the other the same opportunities, all the benefits, but you shirk all the responsibility of negative outcomes to one side, that's literally like somebody being on a plantation, eating in a house, everything else. I need you to go work the field. I don't have to do that. Like I'm really making an extreme example, but how is that not creating slavery to some degree?
Well, I would say that I do, for the record, I do actually think it sucks that if you, if you have sex with a woman and she keeps the baby, I think it sucks that it's hard. I mean, you can evade your responsibilities. You could. There are ways to do it, but it can be tricky. However, are women forcing men to ejaculate inside of them? Are women?
So again, it's men's fault if women get pregnant. Yeah. It's women's fault. So listen, they always tell it to us when they want men to pay the child support. They always say, oh, well, it takes two to tango. Yeah, exactly. It takes two to tango. But again, you're not refuting the point that women have all of these options and men seem to not have these options. You're not refuting his point at all. If your point is just, well, are women forcing them to do this stuff? Well, okay, but when we say that back to you and go, okay, well, are men forcing you to do this? Like if it's a consensual sexual act, are men for that, like it was consensual, it wasn't forced on you. Men weren't forcing you to do that either. You also chose to sleep with a man and you got pregnant. So wait a minute. So we're supposed to take responsibility for everything we do. But again, you're proving Marte's point that women aren't expected to be responsible for anything.
Sexually assaulting men.
Yes.
Are men being sexually assaulted en masse and forced to ejaculate inside of them? Is this women are raping men?
It happens all the time, especially these young kids.
All the time.
Women
are raping men. Absolutely.
There's a rule in the NBA. NBA players have to throw their condoms in the trash.
Nothing is in mass. Men and women are not raping each other en masse, but in society, you can clearly find big samples of female cousins, the same way you have the uncle and all these people that are around the kid and doing diddling things to them. Women do this shit all the time. So what are you talking?
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, thank you very much, Tyler, for becoming a member. Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated. Seriously, if you want to become a member, you can do so too. ejaculation.
About.
Well, yes, child molestation is an awful thing, and there are female predators. However, what I'm saying is that the majority of children come from consensual relationships between relations
Yeah.
between adults.
Mhm.
I guess baby trapping and children outside of wedlock is not really something that I've had to think about often in my life. However, again, when you ejaculate inside of a woman, when you have sex with a woman, you are responsible for the risk that you are taking when you do
Me
that.
too.
Oh
And you
my
too. We both
God.
are, right?
Yeah, both people
Yeah,
So
are
I can
the
do it
men.
responsible.
without
So
a
you
No,
are
reason.
you are
yeah.
taking a risk. You're taking a risk there. So
Yeah,
I
and
would
right
if
now-
I go ahead, Tully.
No,
Our
look-
society, no, yeah.
Let
Our
okay, go ahead.
society allows women to get out of that responsibility.
Yes.
It's just true. And listen, there are, whether it's in terms of like birth control and things like this, which, you know, there are things that men could do if they wanted to make sure that they could have sex without the risk of impregnating a woman. I'm not recommending that you do that, but yes, I mean, the fact that a woman can abort her pregnancy means, and can take plan B and things like this, means that women potentially never in their life have to face the consequences of having consensual sex, which is having a baby. So that is off balance. I think that's a fair thing to talk about and to try to remedy in society. I do think it's just like on its face unfair that women can have an abortion, but men can't walk away from the child if they want to.
And we can go even further. If I take my condom without authorization, I can be prosecuted. If you stop taking the pill and you're still telling me you're taking the pill, nothing happens to you. This happens all the
Are you
time.
sure about that?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah, I never actually even thought about that one. Yeah, if during mid coitus, if you will, the guy takes off the condom and ejaculates in the woman without telling her, yeah, he could get in trouble. But what about when women say, "Oh yeah, I'm on the pill. Yeah, sure," and they're just lying, and then they get pregnant? That's a good point there, Fatty.
If I
Are you
that's
sure?
I think it's called stealth or something like that. When you are
No,
having sex with a
I
condom and you take it off, right? So
For sure. So
Stealth.
I agree that both of these things are happening. I don't think, like Charlie said, I think most of the time the sex that is yielding, or what we're getting children from consensual sex between adults. But yes, there are
Yes.
men who stealth take off their condoms, and there are women who poke holes in condoms. There are women who say that they're taking birth control when they're not. But are you sure that that is not a prosecutable offense? Because that's what I heard
no,
you
because
say.
you had the Drake situation where he put hot sauce on a condom and then she rubbed it in. Men complaining mess of women stop taking birth control on a
Did
whim
Drake
just
try to
because they
sue
want.
her though? But so
Because
you
they
said that
no,
women
no,
cannot
1
be
second.
prosecuted for this, and
You
I'm
can
not sure
sue
that that's
every-
true.
1 second, please. You can sue anyone for everything.
Yeah, you could sue
You
anyone
can
for
sue
anything. That
somebody
doesn't
because I
matter.
sneezed too hard and you got an epilepsy.
You can sue, but that
Right.
doesn't mean that you
But-
will win. I'm
but the
asking if
thing
it's
is-
actually a prosecutable offense.
Yeah, but there's the point. It's not a prosecutable offense for you saying your husband that you are taking the pill and you are actually not, so you can have a kid. It's not. And the reality, once again, and this is y'all that push this shit, right? Women push the fact that women can consent if they are drunk, for example. My friend next to me, men are being raped all the time. How many times you had some couple of drinks and a woman decided to actually have sex with you? We were kind of conservative about it and says, you know what? I think it actually depends. If you are blackout drunk, I believe that's kind of understandable. But we just
I
take
have
a
a
few
question for
cups
both
and
of the women
right? And you push for that.
Just
so
to- Yeah,
even in her definition, and I got you, even in her definition, women in mass actually are raping men because most of men in their life had some drinks and they have sex with a woman. So during the definition, they actually were raped. They are
I just
victims.
I
checked
agree.
just real quick,
I have
Charlie.
a
Just
question
a
for both
fact,
of you women
just
right
real quick, please. I did a fact check on the birth control thing. So apparently,
Mhm.
lying about being on birth control is generally not a prosecutable offense in most jurisdictions. So you
Uh-oh.
cannot be held
Oh,
legally
so-
accountable or liable, at least
Wow.
according to the AI. The AI might be
Thank you
wrong,
very much.
right? But
I have
this
a
is
question for
what I
Carly
checked, and
and
this is what it
So-
told me.
Okay. Props to Wick for actually fact checking that. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, Wick, you get some props on that.
Wait,
Hold on,
it's
hold
fine.
on, both of you, all of you, stop, please. I want to keep
Good
some
job.
order in this court. I'm gonna give the mic first to Charlie, then we're gonna give it to Marte, and then we're gonna move on from there. Cool.
Okay.
That's the order we're gonna go to. Charlie, go ahead.
For the record, I take, sexual assault very seriously, and I think that there needs to be a lot more advocacy for male victims of sexual assault. And I do think that there needs to be more, I don't know, better ways, because rape kits obviously don't work with men when the perpetrators are women. The better ways to ensure that men who are sexually assaulted are receiving the justice that they deserve.
Notice how she always defers to the strong jawline to get her source of talking points. But who do you want doing the advocating for? Because earlier she just said, well, they just said men are good at advocating for themselves. So she says, well, I do think there needs to be more advocacy for that. Okay, well, are you going to help with that, or nah? The men are good; they can handle that on their own.
That's all I wanted to add in there.
And you think there's
It's very brave of you, Charlie.
And you think there's
Yes,
any
thank you.
woman
Rape
movement
is
pushing-
wrong. Very brave.
It's
Sam.
wrong. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I have a question. I've been holding this question for a while. I want to ask both the women. Let's say there's a boyfriend, and he goes to a frat party, right? And he drinks punch, right? We've all had experiences where we drank something and we didn't know the strength or content of this. And you know how things can be sneaky sometimes. It'll sneak up on you, right? He takes 5 of them because they taste really great. He can't even taste alcohol, and it hits him like a Mack truck. He is drunk, right? And a sober woman moves on to him and sleeps with him. Did he cheat, or was he sexually assaulted?
How drunk is he? Like, is he?
Oh, hold on real quick. So now you're going to go ahead and talk about how drunk? Are you making excuses for, like, because I mean, if you're drunk, you're impaired. If you get pulled over by the law, no person's going to be like, oh, if we think about it, he's had 5 drinks. He's apparently incoherent, right? Everybody at the party could say, it caught him. He was unaware of this. Unbeknownst to him, back to my question, was he sexually assaulted, or was he cheating on his girl?
Well, if he's incoherent, that's why I'm trying to. I do think it matters how drunk you are. Same thing for women. I don't think. Hold on, really quickly. Yeah,
totally. Let her answer the question. Go ahead, Tolly.
If the guy is tripping over himself, oh, absolutely. Yeah, that is completely inappropriate at the very least, potentially a prosecutable offense. And no, I wouldn't say that he's cheating on his girlfriend if he literally can't even see ahead of him and some woman advantage of him in that state. However, I do think just how drunk you are matters, and I think the same goes for women. I don't think this idea that a woman's had one drink. I'm not saying that that's how all people treat it.
Let Tolly finish. Hold on. Let Tolly finish your point, then I'll let you guys respond. I promise. But Tolly's got to get it out. Go ahead, Tolly.
Yeah. So, like, especially you're putting us on a college campus. I think what happened in the sort of witch hunt against men on college campuses was just that. It was a witch hunt. It was suddenly decided that if a woman had one beer, right, and she has sex that she later comes to regret, then we can call that rape, even if the man had 5 beers. I think that's totally wrong. I think that's totally and completely wrong.
That's the point I was getting at, because here's the thing, though, is that if you flip the roles in reverse, enemy Charlie, can I just call you Charlie?
Yeah.
If we flip the roles in reverse and a woman had a beer, to her point, she could then say she regretted this and said, oh, shit, I don't know what happened, this and that. Everybody would come to her beck and call and say, oh, you should have known you were under the influence with one beer, even if you were cognizant and aware the whole time and somebody saw her drink a beer, it wouldn't matter, because the court of public opinion enforces and also sways court as well, too. It oftentimes more powerful than courts anyways. So if we think about this, if we're talking about rights, we also need to talk about social rights in public opinion as well, too. Societal rights are also a thing if you want to make it a thing, even though I don't believe rights exist. But that's something that we need to talk about, too, because if we're going to talk about all across the board, then we need to think about men who are at parties that got brushed on or touched by women. This happens all the time. Of course, it's underreported. How many men are being SA'd? Can you say that this guy got SA'd because he got groped in the chest by a girl because he happens to work out? He's a bodybuilder. This happens all the time, but it's like if it happens on the other side, and my point is it'll never be equal, because society will always look at women as the victim class no matter what. And what they've used is they've taken advantage of this and magnified it to where it's now become female supremacy on college campuses, in courtrooms, and everywhere else. And that's what I've noticed.
So I'm actually
I mean, he's absolutely right. Women are always looked at as the victim class, no matter what. It's 2025, and we're still focusing on primarily on women's issues. We don't focus at all on men's issues, and then even groups like men's rights activists are laughed at. They're like made fun of. It's like, oh, you're claiming men don't have rights, or like they get made fun of a lot. But absolutely 100% correct. Women are always looked at as a victim class. And I'm not even sure if we'll ever get to facing issues that men face at all.
Fairly sympathetic to this point. I am queer. So historically, I've spent a lot of time in gay spaces. And I have been groped by women, and I've seen other women be groped by other women. There was an issue on my college campus where there was a female serial date rapist whose victims were all female. And I will say, no one really does anything. You're right. You're completely right. And this is a huge issue that I run into, in the sense that people don't think women are capable of sexual assault, and it is actually something that I'm very passionate about. I did actually testify against as a witness against a female rapist, and the victim was male. So I am, again, extremely passionate about these things. I care a lot about it. It's serious, and it's unfortunately close to my heart.
So
I
think. Go ahead. I'll let you answer.
I just want to jump in really quickly. Yeah. So I think, I agree with what Charlie said. There's not really much there to disagree with, but I think we need to, and this is kind of a meta point that I would like to make, but I'll specify it here. We need to make sure that we are not just overcompensating in the opposite direction, right? So, like, yes, we have been saying that if a man hits on a woman, that is sexual harassment, right? If a man, is interested in a woman, right? If you're saying, if a man puts his arm around a woman and they're drinking, then suddenly that might be sexual abuse of some sort. But we shouldn't then be trying to make, the same go in the opposite direction, right? So I don't want it to now suddenly be that, oh, well, if the woman touches the man's chest, that this is sexual assault too.
Yes, we
need to. Okay, so I'm going to just finish my sentence really quickly. I think that would be terrible for the relations between men and women. Because I don't want people becoming more and more asexual and more afraid of the opposite sex. I want us to all loosen up. I want us to loosen up. I want us to be able to have good, flirty, consensual, whatever interactions. I want people to be able to say no if they're not interested, and to be able to hit on pretty much whoever they want to hit on. So I don't think the answer to this is to make. I think we should be trying to pull back from what you guys are talking about on the sort of female side of this. We should be trying to say, actually, no, just because you're drunk doesn't make it assault. Actually, no, just because, X, Y, or Z doesn't make it assault. But I don't think the answer should be to say that, yes, every time someone of the opposite sex touches you non-consensually, that is sexual abuse and harassment and assault. I don't see how that will improve the relations between the sexes.
Okay, I'm going to give it to Patty. Patty, respond.
There's no pulling back, because this is what women do. They will play the game and they will be winning. And as soon as they start losing, I don't want to play chess anymore. Let's play cards. Nah, y'all choose this game. We're playing this game. Because you know what happens? We don't want to play this game anymore. And then you change your mind and you revoke consent. And now we are on the same place. Like, we thought the Me Too movement was done. Look at what is happening on the last 2 years. That shit was dead. Everybody was like, damn, these people are crazy. Like, some victims came in and we support them. And then as soon as we started supporting them, all of them came out of the woodwork to say, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. Believe all women. No, we are going to play our game. If you believe, for example, as a feminist, that your nipple is not a sexual part of your body, so you could show it, if you can touch my titty, I can touch yours. That's all that
You've been a bit focused on the
I mean, yeah. I don't know if I fully agree, but I get where he's going with the whole thing. Like, yes, if feminists want to be like, oh yes, it should be fair for us to walk around topless and show our nipple, as Fatty says, then yeah, if you could touch a man's chesticle, then you know what? Like, in all fairness, right? Isn't that what they want?
boobs.
No, but that's the thing. But
and the nipples.
This is the point about women don't understanding what they are asking for. If you are going to say that you should show your nipple just like a man because a titty is not a sexual organ, you touch my chest all the time and I can sue you. Why can't I touch yours?
Fatty, can I ask the last time a woman has touched your chest?
The last time a woman touched my
Yeah,
chest,
just curious.
it was on a Diddy party, but there was
I
no
understand.
semen involved.
I
It was
understand.
just
Gotcha.
some baby oil. Okay,
I was
it was
just
the
curious.
last time.
Marte, can I ask you, Marte, do
Yeah.
you honestly want a Me Too movement for men? Like, I can't imagine that's actually the desired
Yeah, let's
outcome
do
that,
it.
that I'm
I
asking
want-
Marte.
What I want is a okay, I don't want to ask a question for your question. That's not what I want. What I want, to be concise, is for you to act, you both actually, Tally and Charlie, to answer this question. Are there, like, because we have this whole argument of what rights do you have that I don't have? That's an ongoing thing. It's never going to end, right? But I need you to answer this for me right now. How is fighting for women's rights in 2025 not beckoning to an overcorrection to women's supremacy?
Oh,
Because
it
it's
is.
all I've heard from what Charlie was saying in her responses was shirking responsibility to a certain degree when it came down to the end, which nobody was able to reconcile because that never got addressed. When
What
I talked
responsibility am I shirking? Could you
class,
explain
that's
that
what
to
I'm
me?
talking about. Go ahead.
You
Can you answer her question, Joke? She asked, what responsibility is Charlie specifically shirking?
I'm talking about, I mean, not you specifically. I'm talking about women as far as like, responsibilities in the end of things that you don't want. To Fatty's point, I don't like chess anymore. It's bad. Let me go ahead and turn. Men do not have this option, when it comes down to outcomes, negative outcomes that you don't want, that don't favor women, that aren't bad. Even though you put yourself in the position of doing this, where force is going to be the outcome. I mean, I'll real quick. I'm going to be real quick about this. I'll give you a hypothetical. I've debated many lawyers and attorneys about this whole abortion debate thing, and they said, well, we don't have a choice, right? And this is my whole point. If you go ahead and stab a guy and you say, well, why am I being forced to prison? Well, you have different outcomes. You could have chose to not be in that position. You could have chose to get a paper knife. You could have got a styrofoam knife. You could have stabbed somebody else. But no, at the end of it, people can say, oh, I'm forced to do this. No, that's a choice too. But women do not like that choice. When the game starts getting bad, they flip the table over and say, let me do something else. This turns men into a pseudo victim class where they have to go ahead and pick up the whole mess and all the pieces. And sometimes with women not even present, like us paying child support, things like this, going to war, fighting for things like you, even though you can protest all you want to, you don't have to do this because you have the luxury to protest because you're not being conscripted or anything. So how are we not getting for women's supremacy?
Well, I would like to point out that women can and do have to pay child support. It's just that women typically are the ones taking care of the children. So,
but why? Why is it? Why are women the ones that are primarily given the children, though? That's a whole issue in itself.
again, I guess it would be a dual responsibility of typically a woman taking care of the child while the absent father pays for it. But again, this can be reversed. That was my situation growing up. My dad took care of me. My mother paid child support. It's very
So that
possible.
doesn't answer my question, though. Can men shirk that responsibility like women can? Because even though, like, let's say your whole point is correct, right? I'm just going to go ahead and grant you that. You're correct. The woman's holding the kid and all. She one day decides, you know what? Screw this kid. I'm dropping it off at a baby safe haven. I'm dropping it off for adoption, this and that. Can a man usually do? Is this normative in society that men have this opportunity to do any of this stuff? Is that normative?
No.
I don't really, you can shirk your responsibility to pay child support, and you can also refuse to be signed on the birth certificate. This is something you can insist on genetic and testing. There does seem to be ways to wiggle out of it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have, so many children growing up without fathers and without, especially fathers that pay child support.
Can I maybe
Well, this
maybe
happens.
just,
Right?
just
Let me
real
just
quick.
do a caveat real quick. It's just like 1 second.
1 second, and then I want to
Yeah,
move
it's
the
actually 1
conversation
second,
forward.
like
Yeah.
three, like 5. So it's kind of funny that I live in Portugal, right? I live in Europe. I don't live in the United States. There's 3 countries in Europe, like France, for example, that literally prohibits the man from doing a DNA test without the woman consent. And this is ridiculous. And this is, again, the place of where liberties and independence and all these comes from. We, once again, nobody's fighting for this. Man, women were once second-class citizens. Now they are not. And when men are asking for the same favors, nobody's fighting for it because it's not convenient. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I guess maybe to kind of help the conversation a little bit and help us kind of ground things a little bit. And I'll ask this to Tolly and Charlie here. And this is a question for both of you. In the year 2025, what rights, privileges, or abilities do you think that women lack that men have, if any? Do you think that we have reached equality, or do you think that women are still behind? And if you think that women are still behind, how are they behind? And I want Charlie to go first, and I'm going to give it to Tolly.
I mean, I think Tolly would probably disagree, and that's okay. I think it's a personal, feeling. I feel that Roe v. Wade being overturned was a significant infringe severely on women's rights. The right to bodily autonomy. I don't think that women should have to.
Yeah. I'm feeling the same way as Marte and even Fatty here. Marte and Fatte. Feeling completely the same. How can you say, like, oh my gosh, they took away the ability to unalive your unborn baby? That's a woman's right. Like, what? Again, men don't have that right at all. Men can't unalive unborn babies at all. I can't go and punch an unborn. I can't go and punch a pregnant lady in the stomach and cause her to get a miscarriage or something like that. I can't do that. So that's actually a privilege that women do have, which again goes to Marte and Fatty's point. And even so, it didn't outlaw it across the nation. It left it up to the states. So there's still some states you could do that.
Endanger themselves and lose their lives, disrupt their ability to participate in the economy through forced child pregnancy and childbirth.
Forced child pregnancy and childbirth. Oh my goodness, that has got to be the most retarded take so far in this debate. It's funny because they got talking about how it consensual, when no one's forcing a man to ejaculate. Well, again, this is what we're talking about. No one's also forcing a woman. Again, if it's not grape, no one's forcing a woman to have sex with a man and get pregnant by them either. That was also the woman's choice. But she has the option to terminate the pregnancy. A man doesn't.
Other than that, I would say I feel that.
And it's so crazy how she's like, well, it inhibits a woman's ability to participate in the economy. Like, this is also to Marte's point about like just the people on the right. It's to our point that these corporations and stuff, like they force the feminist movement and stuff, because for the labor, they took away women out of the homes to get them into the workplace. And now you have brainwashed women like idiot Charlie over here, who is saying, well, it's inhibiting our time in the economy and stuff. Like, that's the most important thing. It's proving everything that we say here on the right true.
At this time, men and women are fairly equal. I think other than that, it's chilling. It's chilling. There's certainly issues that disproportionately affect women, which I would say, unfortunately, sexual harassment and sexual assault, women tend to be the victims, men tend to be the perpetrators. That doesn't change the fact that there are male victims and female perpetrators, but again, so other than that, yeah, I'd say we were doing pretty good till 2022.
You noted that you just lost the debate, right?
You did.
You literally lost the debate right now.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to answer now.
She lost the debate because
let's see.
The revoking of Roe v. Because the revoking of Roe v. Wade actually makes you more equal to men. I don't have the right to opt out of fatherhood, and you shouldn't have it too. The fact that you said that it was all good and dandy when you had the advantage, and now that Roe v. Wade actually brings you closer to men is something that is bad, prove the point that
Okay.
you don't want to be equal.
Okay,
There's
Tali,
another point that
just
destroys
before we
it.
go,
I gotta
before we
press.
go in
Can I
again, I gotta give
clarify?
clarify, and then Tali gets the mic because I did ask them both a question, and then you
That
both
was
can
a
respond. I
privilege. It's
promise.
not a right equal to
Um,
men. Men don't have that right.
So having to while frankly, if I was a man, I would be very anxious about a woman, keeping a child that I didn't want. But there is also an understanding there that women do take on the physical burden of carrying the child and giving birth to the child, which can be very dangerous, changes one's life. And again,
I hate it when they always the lefties, they treat pregnancy as if it's all if it's getting cancer or something. Like if it's so dangerous to women, and by the way, I'm not saying there are no health risks to women getting pregnant. I'm not saying that. Obviously, there are health risks there, especially if you're older too. If you're older, those risks go up significantly. But they always use that defense about, well, it's dangerous to a woman's health, or it could be, like if it's pretty much a coin toss whether or not a woman's going to survive the pregnancy or not. That's not the case. I remember I even debated that with First Amender. I said, why do you treat pregnancy like if it's disease? Like, oh, is it basically a coin flip that it's going to terminate their life? If a woman says she's pregnant, should we go, oh my God, should we get scared for them? That's how these lefties put it to help their argument. But we all know that's not true. Yes, there are health risks, but it's not this big problem that now we need to seriously consider abortions just to make sure women are safe.
Severely disrupts their ability to participate in the economy, and can be, for both the mother and the father, will be a drain on their resources. Even when the father is paying child support, if the mother has custody, that is also a drain on her resources, time, energy, etc. So, again, I don't think it is ethical to force women to go through that. I also don't think it's ethical to, when we get rid of Roe v. Wade, now more men who don't want children are being forced to have children, which is bad, right? We don't want that. We don't want men who don't want to be fathers to be forced to be fathers. Correct?
Quick, after
Patty,
Tally
you're-
goes, I
you're
gotta
muted.
address that.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I don't know why Fatty is muted, but he's muted now. It wasn't on my end. I don't know if you're. Yeah, no one can hear what you're saying. While
we
he's
can't hear Fatty.
dealing
I'm
with that,
gonna-
we'll give it to Tali. Go ahead.
Right now, because I have a.
Well, we gotta let Tali answer the question. Just write it down, right? But
Major
I did ask Tali a
contradiction.
question. I do gotta let her address it. Go ahead, Tali.
Yeah. Okay, so in 2025, no, there are no rights that men have that women don't have. I think the gentleman here made a decent point that if we're talking about essentially equality, that women's ability to have an abortion where men do not, so women can walk away from parenting where men are not given that option legally, they are required to at least financially parent, for lack of better terms, the child. So I hear what the gentlemen are saying, that abortion is not a good example to use for women's rights being rolled back. I personally, I think the framing, this is why I said from the beginning, I think this is really a cultural issue and not a legal issue. I am dismayed by the framing that is very common in feminist circles, or in the sort of modern, especially progressive discourse today. I don't like that we're framing pregnancy and childbirth as a burden, as a suck of resources. These things might be objectively true, right? That your body undergoes stresses and stuff when you are pregnant, and that yes, having a baby costs money. I don't think that is the I don't think that's the right way to be looking at the proliferation of our species, right?
And
Wow.
even
So,
if you
and I'm not
Wow, this lady actually, she's the one who makes more sense of it too, but she's probably still a no good, rotten feminist though. But hey, I'll give her a point. She makes way more sense than Charlie does.
saying,
And even
Right.
if it was, it's not man's fault, that's God's fault. It's not our fault.
Could I
think
answer
totally.
Tolly real quick?
Uh-oh.
Tolly,
Charlie triggered by her own debate partner. Cat fight.
my concern with that is that, I feel like unwanted pregnancy, when someone is not ready to have a child, I feel like
Then don't have sex.
it puts a significant economic strain on both mother and father, which, can disrupt someone's ability to, Well, oh my God, there's a specific term that I'm looking for. It is when your class changes and you become richer.
So
The
social
advance?
Holy
mobility.
shit. Huh?
Upward mobility?
Social mobility.
Upward,
or
yes, God, thank you. Upward,
upward
it
mobility.
Call me
disrupts
Wick, but
someone's
go ahead.
access to upward mobility, which is I think I mean, my God, isn't that the American dream? Is that one day
Yes,
we
but
will
the
have more
American
money than
dream.
our families
Yes,
or our
but the American
ancestors.
dream is for your family to be in a good position,
Right.
right? For you and your
Charlie, there's
husband
a
and your
massive
children.
hole.
Hold on, let me go back and forth with Charlie if you guys don't mind
Mhm.
for a second.
Go ahead.
Well, yes.
Okay.
please.
This debate turning into 3-on-1 now, huh? I guess this is why she's called Enemy Charlie. Everyone is just becomes enemies of Charlie.
Thank you, gentlemen. So while I hear you, and again, some of these things are sort of objectively true, like having a baby is going to cost money. And if you then can't work and you have less money coming in for your income, you're going to have fewer resources. These things are true. But I think, again, where I think that this all should go is that there are differences between men and women. I think a lot of what's happening in the modern age is that women have been encouraged to put off child rearing, to get a job first, to make sure that you can financially support yourself, just in case, what if your husband leaves you? And these are things that I think for good reason, a lot of young women were taught. I mean, my parents have been married my entire life. They're still together. But when I was young, my mom basically told me I need to have a job and have a career that I can take care of myself, just in case something goes wrong in my marriage. And this was coming from a woman who was not scorned by her husband. And this is sort of in the feminist culture right now. And I think that is actually detrimental to men and women. So what we're seeing now a lot is women, my age in their 30s, who are trying to have children and they're not able to have children because they did wait and they got the sort of corporate job and things. So I think that we need to have a bit of a reshuffling of priorities here. And just like I wish that we had a more positive view on the miracle that is.
Okay, I'm gonna let Rasad.
Wow, she just actually made a lot of sense here. This woman absolutely cooked and cleaned, huh? Wow.
I'm gonna let Charlie respond to that. And once she does, I'm gonna give it to Marte because Marte's been waiting and Marte needs to go. So Charlie, you can respond if you like, and then we're gonna go to Marte.
I can agree on that. But we talked about this a little bit. I think that for that to happen, because I do think that, children are a blessing. I would love to have a child someday. We talked about this earlier on the call. The economy right now makes it so hard for many parents who are essentially not upper middle class to have like a single income like household. Which means that kids are not going to be getting the attention that they deserve, and it's going to be much more difficult for, you want to give your children like the best childhood possible. So I agree. I think that we do need to have a more
She's always deferring to the strong chin. She gets her source of her power. She gets that strong jawline, and it gives her like a little refresher, a little bit of power boost right there.
Positive view about raising children, childhood. I'm the biggest advocate. I hate when people talk about how much they hate kids, because I think that we were all little people once, and we should protect them and take care of them and love them. But again, we would have to our economy would have to improve drastically for that to be the case.
Okay, I want to give it to Marte. I've appreciated the back and forth, but I do want to kind of get us back onto the actual topic of the day.
Just let Marte. Just let Marte cook.
Do women deserve rights, and which rights do they deserve? Which rights don't they deserve, etc.? Marte, mic is yours. Go ahead.
So right now the prompt automatically destroys itself. So I'm going to bring up 2 points, and I have a hypothetical I'm going to give you, Charlie. Me and Charlie, I just want to have a back and forth directly with you with no interruption. So the prompt says, do women deserve? I don't believe that men or women do not deserve anything. I think that things should be earned. I think life is better. You have a better quality of life when people have to earn things. I don't think anybody should just be handed anything. I think that people should earn things, right? You would agree with me on this, right? Who knows? But so this is my point, right? So the prompt automatically kind of destroys itself to some degree. We're going to go into this. So you had mentioned that women are being forced to.
Is Charlie's nose bleeding? What the hell? Dang, is she getting demolished that badly that even her nose is bleeding? What's going on there?
To not abort and whatever this is, you kept using the word force. I need you
Get
to
your
go ahead
finger
and
out of there.
reconcile this and tell me how women are being forced when they know that when they enter into a sexual verbal agreement with somebody, they know the outcome would be a baby. And this is my hypothetical. I'm going to make this really quick. Let's say that a man is with somebody, they're going to have intercourse, but he loves choking women, right? We all know that the possibility of choking a woman can end up in death because maybe she sees stars, feeling lightheaded. She gets off like this, right? Things like this exist. And I know one person that went to prison for this. They hunted him down in Mexico, got him, right. Back to my point. So if we know that we could choke somebody with cloth, toilet paper, and just imagine it, use invisible hands, something like this, we know that the outcome would be this. Now, if she happens to pass away during this whole period, would he be forced into prison? It's the same thing. You need to go ahead and let me know how you can reconcile women are being forced to go through with this when they make the decision to do this. How's the end forced?
Well,
I might need a just a
so I don't
rephrase,
understand
but
what
maybe
the
Charlie did.
choking had to do with all
Well,
that.
when we make a decision to
which
engage in an activity, there's always an outcome that we want to run from and shirk responsibility from, right? Because we know that the possibility could be a baby, right? So you can go ahead and use 20 forms of contraceptions. Even abstinence is a form of contraception. I could choose not to choke somebody while having intercourse with somebody, right? Now, granted, if the outcome ends up bad, right? Am I forced into prison? Yes, they're going to go ahead and cuff me.
well, that would be
All
like
this-
a manslaughter charge, I think. Also, I would say with BDSM, safe, sane, and consensual always, especially breath play is particularly dangerous. And I think people need to be very careful about engaging those practices. And I think it would be tragic if someone were to accidentally kill their partner. However, I would like to say that it's hard to kill someone
How is the outcome forced?
when choking them, because you would notice if they stopped moving, if they passed out, you'd kind of notice. It's not very easy to, like, you would really have to be.
So, like, listen, she's going into too much into the hypothetical here. The point Marte is just trying to make is this: is that at what point, like, responsibility do you take? Like, at what point do you take responsibility for your actions? That's what he's trying to say. Like, if you want to avoid bad thing, then you just don't do bad thing. So, if you don't want to get pregnant, then no, the solution isn't abortion. Then we should have abortion. No, how about just not having sex? Because listen, I could sit here and go, yeah, contraception, of course. But yeah, contraceptions fail. And if the contraception does fail, well, then you need to take responsibility for that. In the end, you chose to do an action, and the whole, terminating a life thing, well, that's just you trying to shirk responsibility here. So listen, it's annoying me a little bit. Like, Charlie's getting too much in the hypothetical. Like, it's not about the hypothetical. All right. It's about women shirking their responsibilities, which I think Marte and Fatty did a good job of pointing out and debating with these ladies. And I'll give credit to Glasses woman here. She's probably at the end of the day still a no good dirty feminist, but between Charlie and her, she made way more sense. And at even one point, they even all three went up against Charlie, which was pretty funny to see. But yeah, they these two women, I think, were proving Marte and Fatty's point in real time with some things, the way they just refuse to take responsibility at all. And then when Fatty was like saying, well, yeah, you should advocate for us, free the nipple and advocate for us, they're just like, well, don't you guys have it handled? Which has always been the case. They want us to fight for them, but they don't want to fight for us, which also proves our point that they always appeal to us to fight for them. They have to appeal to us for their rights. We don't have to appeal to women for their rights. So all in all, this was just one big L on their part. Good job to Marte and even Fate here in this debate. I thought it was a pretty good job. What do you guys think about this? If you want to see the full clip, I believe it's on Wick's channel, but I'm pulling this up off of Marte's channel. I'm going to link it in the description below. If you want to see the full debate, leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you liked it. Give this video a like if you liked it, and also subscribe to my channel if you really liked it. Check out Marte's channel as well. And you know what? Check out Wick TV.
Exerting so
Check out Fatty's channel as well.